Using his freedom of speech to its fullest extent, it's John James and Freedom's Pep Rally. Now, America's friendliest host, your buddy, John James.
Before we get to the Ashli Babbit story, and this, by the way, I don't know if you probably haven't heard this. Maybe you have. I never know what people have heard and what they haven't heard. I just know what I haven't heard on mainstream media because I watch a lot of it. And then I find out a story like this, and I thought, wow, at least we need to get it out there. Who shot Ashli Babbit? Allegedly. Allegedly. I'm going to throw that word in several times when I give you the story because I want to be really careful here. First of all, let's look at a new CNN voter poll. This is interesting. And you've got Stacey Abrams, you've got raging racist Joy Reid, and you've got all the Democrats saying how racist these Republican voter laws are. How dare you do voter ID? You are so racist. A new CNN poll. Yes, that's the propaganda network. You're right about that. A new CNN poll finds the majority of Americans feel voter ID laws make elections more fair. Findings are at odds with CNN and MSNBC and the Democrats, who are calling them Jim Crow laws. I'm surprised that CNN would even want to put their name on this poll, seeing they're one of the big mouthpieces against voter ID laws. Although I think MSNBC is worse. The poll was conducted on behalf of CNN by SSRS, asked Americans in April last month if requiring voters to provide photo identification before they cast a ballot would make elections more fair. 64% said yes. 64%, not 64% of white people, 64% of black people, 64% of men or women or Democrats or Republicans, 64% of people, regular people, not news loudmouths, not Congress loudmouths, people. 64% said yes, they are going to be more fair if there is voter ID required. 17%, only 17% felt that requiring a voter ID would be less fair. And I venture to say, of those 17%, 16% were probably illegal aliens. I'm just saying. You ever heard of David Bailey? Does that name ring a bell? Probably not, unless you've heard this story. Here's a little about David Bailey. He's a Black Lives Matter activist. He works for the Capitol Police in D.C. Social media reveals that Agent Bailey is a Brazilian immigrant who has pledged his allegiance to the deadly Black Lives Matter movement, even going so far as vowing to murder Trump supporters. Stay with me here. Agent Bailey is allegedly, here's where I'm going to be very careful. He's allegedly the one who shot and killed Ashli Babbit on January 6th. Now, this is something nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants this out. He was not charged. Again, being very cautious here, David Bailey is allegedly the shooter of Ashli Babbit on January 6th. David Bailey is a black man. Now, according to an article at Populist Press, the Capitol Police absolutely refused to release the name of the officer. The media didn't ask for a name and diverted all the attention away from his murderous crime. Didn't want to talk about it. They keep saying armed insurrection. That's all they talk about. That's all, they're going to use it in the Virginia election. The armed insurrection on January 6th. They're going to use it to get a Democrat elected in Virginia. They've stated this. They've said they're going to. The only arm that was presented was by, allegedly, David Bailey to shoot and kill Ashli Babbit, who didn't have a gun. In fact, she was wrapped in an American flag. Now, this article goes on here. And again, this is from Populist Press. In the face of arson, looting, terror, and death by Black Lives Matter over the summer, the D.C. Council unanimously passed a police reform law specifically requiring the city to swiftly make public the names of officers who use force on citizens. That's part of the war against cops. So, that's what happens. That's what happens. When the woman in Brooklyn City shot Dante Wright, we knew within hours. Her name, we had video of her shooting Dante Wright, thinking she had a taser. And the press conference was held where the mayor of Brooklyn Center wanted to deny her. He verbally said he wanted to deny her due process under the law. And he, as a matter of fact, fired the city manager who called for due process, which, just to bring you up to speed, is a constitutional right. But now when it happens in a way not benefiting the Democratic narrative and the mainstream media narrative as a direct consequence, they're tied together. They are unequivocally linked. If you don't understand that, then let me school you on that. Mainstream media, all of them, MSNBC, CNN, especially the cable outlets, tied unequivocally to the Democrat machine, period. Chuck Todd is one of the ringleaders. You'll hear that later if we have time. So Bailey has also, now this guy, Bailey, who allegedly, David Bailey allegedly is the one who shot and killed Ashli Babbit. He has been in the spotlight before, and you will remember this incident. David Bailey was seen sporting the same wristband on many occasions, including when the media was celebrating him for his incompetence after allowing a deranged leftist gunman, a Sanders supporter, to open fire on congressional Republicans during a baseball practice in 2017 in Virginia. Steve Scalise was shot. You remember that? Steve Scalise, to this day, is a big pro-Second Amendment supporter. So David Bailey was there. Where? I guess he was doing something, not keeping an eye on things, apparently. So that was part of that is attributed to Bailey's negligence in protecting the House Republicans. which was his only job that day. Actually, he was Steve Scalise's personal bodyguard. That was his job. That was Bailey's job, to be Steve Scalise's personal bodyguard. Steve Scalise got shot. So, there's a little more about David Bailey. Here's a Congressman Paul Gosar. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Gosar. Gosar, maybe Gosar. Congressman Paul Gosar of Arizona. Here in this, he is questioning former Deputy Attorney General Jeff Rosen and the Capitol Police Chief, District Police Chief, Robert Conti. So here's the questioning starts. Here is Paul Gosar.
Mr. Rosen, do you recall the name of the young lady, a veteran wrapped in an American flag, that was killed in the U.S. Capitol?
I do. Her name was Ashli Babbit.
Yes, Ashli Babbit. Was Ashli Babbit armed?
Again, Congressman, I mean to be respectful of
Mr.
your
Rosen,
observations, but I just don't
Mr.
want to
Rosen,
talk about individual
Rosen,
situations or...
reclaiming my time, Mr. Rosen.
Just
no,
say
she
no.
was wrapped in a U.S. flag.
Thank you.
Was the death of Ashli Babbit a homicide?
Yes, it was. Death certificate.
Congressman, I'm not trying to be unhelpful here.
He knows.
But I just cannot
He
comment.
knows.
I understand, but I mean, reclaiming my time, as the death certificate says, it was a homicide. Who executed Ashli Babbit?
Crickets.
Congressman, I'm just going to have to say the same thing here, that I don't want to get into the
I
specific
agree.
facts
Thank you very much.
investigations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Now, Chief Conti, what are the rules of engagement at the DC protests?
At DC protests, sir?
Yes.
Yeah, we the only time that we engage in donning riot gear, that kind of thing, is when in situations where there's an actual attack that's going on, sir. I'm not sure the.
Well, I appreciate you, and thank you for your service.
All right. Okay. Who was being attacked? The Congress had fled. Congress was nowhere to be found. You saw the empty House chambers. And apparently, I don't know where AOC was. Well, I do know where she was. She was at another place on the compound, another building on the compound adjacent to the Capitol, fearing for her life, as she told us, for 90 minutes. What? The police weren't being attacked. They tried to say over and over and over again that Brian Sicknick was attacked and killed with a fire extinguisher. He was not. He was attacked with some bear spray, not lethal. Now, I don't know if that could have contributed to his dying of natural causes, a stroke, later. I don't know. There were no weapons brandished, not during the armed insurrection. There was nobody to attack. They were just going in. They were going in to empty chambers. There was nobody to attack. Now, had they gone in and you saw, personal attacks on representatives and senators in the chambers, then deadly force most certainly would be justified. Most certainly, but there was nobody in there, and they weren't attacking each other. I didn't, except for the door being pushed down near the speaker's lobby, I really didn't see much anger at the whole thing. Really, I didn't see a lot of anger. I saw a lot of frustration. But again, like I told you yesterday, this is what the right is very good at. Now, I don't say that they belonged in that building on that day. They did not. I am all over that. I get it. They trespassed. That is not a reason to use deadly force on somebody for breaking into the Capitol building, the People's House, and not brandishing any, not even attacking anybody. But they were focused. They had sole focus. Their focus was on the Capitol, where they felt, and I feel, that an injustice was being done in America, preventing Donald Trump from becoming president. I still feel that way. They were frustrated by it, by all the talk and nobody listening about voter fraud. It's being investigated now, finally, including in Windham, New Hampshire. There were some interesting weird things with a machine there. Smaller state, smaller, it's smaller apples, but it's a big story nonetheless. But the Republicans were focused, or the Trump supporters, the GOP, the conservatives, whatever you want to call them, they were focused. Capitol, protest, presidential election. The Electoral College, the electoral votes being certified, that's our target. That's where we're going to make noise. And they went a little beyond making noise. Most of them didn't. Most of them stayed outside. It was just a handful of the crowd, just a little bit of the crowd that went inside, but they shouldn't have done it. But it was focused. Now, had it been the left protesting, they would have not only gone to the Capitol, they would have gone and they would have destroyed Walmart and Target, and they would have robbed Walgreens and liquor stores and burned police stations. We focus our anger because we aren't mentally ill. Now, some of us are. You wait. If you don't know who Ben Domenech is, ladies, what a voice this guy's got. So anyway, not that matters, but I'm really into voices. Can I tell you? So not only is his voice like butter, but he reemphasizes everything we know that we're up against. It might be a good idea to make a list of some of the things he goes through so you can keep track of all the things that the Joe and Kamala clown show is doing to destroy us and make us hate each other. That's part of it. That's part of the plan. Make us hate each other. Sow division, sow hatred. It's part of it. Now you think it's touchy-feely. Oh, they want good for everybody. No, they don't. They want the more anger, the better. They are just excellent when it comes to messaging. Well, not so much Joe, but the rest of the left is excellent when it comes to messaging. And they convince you that they're doing it all for the greater good when they are totally not. Now, as the show opened, Domenech talked about the significance of Patriots Day. So, yeah, this goes back to last month. This is a month, almost a month old. So he talks about the significance of Patriots Day and the American Revolution. And then he compares the events of that time period to what is going on right now. Here is Ben Domenech on Fox News last month, co-founder of the Federalist.
The same challenge faces us today. The forces arrayed against the survival of the United States of America, foreign and domestic, do not believe you have the capacity, the ability, or the right to govern yourselves. They work every day to scare you into silence, indoctrinate your children, gaslight you with falsehoods, direct your future, and stamp out your freedom. Understand, it is the totalitarian left that wants a national divorce. They want racial strife that burns down your cities. They want envy and segregation and division that pays for their $1 million homes in Topanga Canyon. They want to demolish Mount Rushmore, make you pay for abortions, and force your daughters to compete in sports against men. They want to teach your children to hate cops, the anthem, the flag, and everything you were raised to love and respect. They want to destroy our great American experiment, a thriving, capitalist, multi-ethnic republic of God-fearing people for all time. But we're on to them. We're not going to let them. And together, we're going to show them what free people do.
There he is. Boom. And how easy is that guy to listen to, right? Ben Domenech from the Federalist. Right on. He's right on. He said it eloquently, they don't want us. They want us to hate each other. They want us, they drive the wedge. They drive the wedge. And nobody drives it better than the people who are paid professionals to do it. The media. The media is complicit with the Democratic Party in driving a wedge between people by race, by ethnicity, by socioeconomic, you name it. Anything they can find, any differences they can find, they exploit and they drive the wedge. They look for the opening, pow! I'm not wrong, am I? All I can say is what took so long. You knew this was coming. You knew this was coming. You know, we've had the biggest anti-Semitic members of Congress speak out, the Squad. After Hamas attacked Israel, firing rockets from the Gaza Strip, Ilhan Omar condemned Israel for defending itself by firing back. How dare they? How dare those Jews shoot rockets back at their attackers? Yeah, some people did something. Then AOC condemned New York mayoral candidate Andrew Yang for supporting Israel as he was getting ready to help serve meals to Muslims. What? Are these mutually exclusive now, I guess? So if you're going to serve meals to Muslims at the end of Ramadan, how dare you stand up for Israel because we hate the Jews? Somebody punches you, what do? I just sit there and I let him punch me some more. I say, go ahead, punch me some more. Tie my hands behind my back. Just keep punching. No. These people are idiots. They're brain dead. Brain damaged is too good. They're brain dead. So there you go. You have two of the Squad members. You have Ilhan Omar and you have Rashida Tlaib, who think that Israel should be condemned and did in fact condemn Israel for fighting back. How could they do that? Just let those poor people in those poor Palestinians on the Gaza Strip, just let them blow up your country. They deserve it. They have been offered land so many times in history. Look back. No. There are many times I went through the whole lineage once by year, starting way back in the 20s, in the 30s, maybe I don't even know. Not going to pretend I do. And I wondered, wow, we haven't heard. And do you recall the loudest, most brash Squad member of all? So where is she? Where is Rashida, impeach the mother effer, Tlaib? Where is Rashida? Oh, any men, you better not want to have sex with me. Well, don't worry, sister. Whoa, don't you worry, dear. Don't you worry. Yeah, she said that at an abortion rally, a pro-baby killing rally in front of the Supreme Court. Yeah, she said that. So I was surprised when I didn't hear from her on Israel because I know she hates Israel too. She hates Israel as much, if not more, than Ilhan. Some people did something. Omar and AOC. Oh, I thought I was going to die. Sandy Cortez. So where's Rashida Tlaib? Well, wouldn't you know it? She showed up in a place I would fully expect to see her. MSNBC with her mouthy windbag-like attack on Israel. I don't even know whose show it was on. So here's Rashida Tlaib. We've got to let you hear this.
We need to stop and look at the fact that our own country is enabling it with billions of dollars every year being issued to Israel, even though they are promoting racism and dehumanization.
Oh, she loves racism. She loves racism. Racism, racism. Red meat here. Some more red meat. Racist. Oh, yes, Israel are giving those evil people money. How dare we give people money like that? No, let's give it to illegal aliens who are coming in to kill our kids and rape our women. Let's do that. Let's save our money for something good. We don't want to give it to Israel. Let's give it to the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, or Nancy Pelosi's bridge project in San Francisco, or train project, sorry, or Chuck Schumer's bridge project in New York. Give it to the Israelis. They're racist. Everybody's racist. If they're white, if they breathe, they're racist. Some charming people we have over there in Washington, huh? So very charming. Want to go up and squeeze their cheeks really, really, really hard sometimes. So the military, what's up with the military? Army generals warn of Biden's Marxism. That's my headline. I put that as a headline on this story. We told you. Oh, Biden's a moderate. That's my Joy Behar. I'm getting better at that. Joe Biden's a moderate. Sounds a little like an angry Edith Bunker. I know Joe Biden's not a moderate. Joe Biden is any way the wind blows Joe. And the wind has blown him way over to the left, as AOC said it would before the election. She predicted, we'll be able to push Joe to the left. Don't worry. We got this covered, kiddo. Don't worry. Sure enough, as predicted, the story at nationalpulse.com says in a letter signed by more than 120 retired military flag officers that America is under tremendous assault from socialist and Marxist ideologies, encouraging more citizens to counter the dangerous subversion. This is no small claim here. Let me read a little of the letter. Our nation is in deep peril. We are in a fight for our survival as a constitutional republic like no other time since our founding in 1776. The conflict is between supporters of socialism and Marxism versus supporters of constitutional freedom and liberty. That's how the letter opens. These are flag officers in the military, retired. So I said Army generals. That wasn't exactly right. Sure, there are generals in there. The letter also slams the Biden White House, noting that the mental and physical condition of the commander-in-chief cannot be ignored. He must be able to quickly make accurate national security decisions involving life and limb anywhere, day or night, they said, while slamming the regime for passing executive orders in a dictatorial manner. Biden said they were dictatorial before he made them. Executive orders are the tools of tyrants, he said. And then he proceeded to pass more than any of the last 4 presidents combined. So he basically says that's what a tyrant does and then shows that he's a tyrant. They also called the Chinese Communist Party, and this is a very, very scary claim, from the U.S. military. We know how close Joe Biden is to Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party. So is John Kerry. So is Hunter Biden, Joe's son. So is Devin Archer, a good friend and former employee of John Kerry, and Christopher Hines, John Kerry's stepson. They're right in there. They're all right in there. They love the communist Chinese. Mitch McConnell, another one. His wife is Chinese. Her parents live in China. They have benefited from Chinese communist money. The McConnells, yeah. How close are we to China? You need look no further than Hunter Biden's laptop. But no, the news won't touch that. The news will not report on that, but we will. We will. More damning evidence came out this week. Do you think anybody heard about it? No. Nope. Is anybody hearing about any of the other stuff? No. You know what they are hearing from CBS? Take CBS. What are they hearing? Michelle Obama. There you go. Yeah, Michelle Obama's being oppressed. There's the news. Nothing else going on. Nope, nothing at the border. Hunter Biden, I'd never heard of any laptop. Oh, but poor Michelle Obama. She's worried about her daughters and she's oppressed. Here's what these generals or these flag officers said in the letter. Called the Chinese Communist Party the greatest external threat to America, advocating for more sanctions and restrictions to impede their world domination goal and protect America's interests. They never had to say anything close to this during the Trump administration, because Donald Trump had the military's back, and they knew it. Now, they are being told to stand down because of racism. They're being told they need to recruit more transgenders by giving them free gender reassignment surgery just because we want to be inclusive. I mean, how many times in one day do we have to be inclusive on everything? Whether it's at a high school where the top 10 students are they tried to replace them with the Latin honors so more people could get honors. And now, we've got to look, more transgenders. We need more transgenders in the military. So tell you what, we'll cough up $200,000 for gender reassignment surgery, and that should bring him in. And yeah, I bet it will. Who cares? Who the hell cares? Joe Biden and the virtue signaling left. They are the only ones who care. They care not about our national security. They care not about the American people. All they care about is power. And this is a means to an end. China's part of the grand plan. Remember China, the Uyghur Muslims? You remember the Uyghur Muslims? They're in concentration camps, re-education camps. There is reported genocide going on, women being sterilized. Uyghur Muslim women being sterilized without consent, being beaten and tortured. What's Joe say? Well, it's just cultural differences. Well, I thought we were against that. It doesn't matter who did. I thought we were against that. No. When did you hear? When did I say we were against it? Hunter Biden's getting a paycheck from them. I'm not going to cost him money. The letter also argues the military should not be used as political pawns to protect the Capitol against non-existent threats. Also voiced opposition to the spread of critical race theory. We must support our military and vets, focus on war fighting, eliminate the corrosive infusion of political correctness into our military, which damages morale and war fighting cohesion. Well, I'll be damned. I couldn't have said that better. I would have said all of it. I would have said all of what those flag officers said in that letter. The same thing. I've been saying it for months. Same thing. Maybe they'll listen to these guys. Probably not. No, we don't make people feel bad. We made a promise. America's in trouble. They said, we have not been in peril like this since our founding in 1776, the year the Declaration of Independence was signed. Oh, there you go. Common sense, reason, objectivity. From real leaders, real brave people. Not 50-year partisan hacks who lied about their education, lie about your accomplishments, and now you're in office lying if you can even remember what you're supposed to say. Maybe you're not lying. Maybe you're just saying what you think is right because you can't think anymore. Joe